It's that time again for the assault on your ears. I refuse to accept is Lower Dorks, a Star Trek Lower Decks podcast. I'm Aaron, and with me, as always, is Stavros. Tonight on our screens is Fissure Quest. And what's in our cups, Stavros?
We are having a mix of grape soda and Malibu rum. It's a 3-to-1 ratio, I believe. And I let my wife taste it, and she says it tastes like Dimetap, whatever that means. So I guess Dimetap tastes like grape soda.
Dimetap is cough syrup, so apparently I enjoy cough syrup. Good to know.
I'm drinking it as well. It's actually, it tastes, I rarely have grape soda, so it does taste a little bit like, the only other thing that is not grape soda that tastes like grape is cough syrup. But it is actually tasty. The Malibu rum gives it an evenness to the flavor. It evens out the grapeness of the flavor. So it's actually tasty as long as you get over the initial whiff. You're like, oh, that's kind of like cough syrup, but it's still tasty.
I enjoy it. I don't normally like coconut things, but this somehow works together for me. Very good.
Yeah. I was very uncertain when you suggested it, but I was like, grape soda, that's too much, but no, it's tasty.
Of course, now I'm starting to question who I am, given that
having metaphysical questions about existence and
apparently
syrup.
I enjoy cough syrup a little too much.
Let's talk about this episode a bit. It's Fissure Quest, as you said in the Paramount Plus description. Fissures must be closed before they get inflamed.
Nice try, Paramount Plus. It's mildly funny.
I didn't know fissures got inflamed. It's like a rash,
Well, yeah, I mean, any open sore can get inflamed. Come on.
Is that what they're going for there? Do you feel like that worked?
No, not at all. And the episode is a gag on Vision Quest, right? So why didn't you do a description that has some bearing or relation to Vision Quest?
Vision Quest, like the Chakotay thing?
No, like...
What are you talking about?
Well, I guess not necessarily the Star Trek Vision Quest episode. I'm talking about just Vision Quest in general, right?
What does that mean?
A vision quest? What's
Vision Quest?
It's where you go on some journey to try and have a vision from spirits or ancestors or some nonsense. I'm not spiritual.
You're educating me, so you're at least more spiritual than I am.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Go have
so you're
a
not
vision
on board
quest.
with the inflammation because it does get inflamed by the end.
I don't think visions get inflamed though. That's the problem.
Oh, okay. You want the metaphor to work with visions and fissures.
Yes.
You're just talking nonsense there. Well, shall we talk about the episode proper then?
That is why we're here. Where are we starting off today, Stavros?
Let's do a Boimler beard update. He has the full beard now. We've reached the apex of Boimler beardness.
He's got the full beard. And you know what? I was right. It was going to happen in the penultimate episode.
Now, my hope is that he for some reason shaves it in the next episode, in the last one.
I can go either way. Maybe he shaves it, maybe he doesn't.
Yeah, I need it to be a character moment for Boimler where he realizes and he shaves it. I'll even take shaving it on screen, like as we all watch, as he clips it off with the Rutherford eye lasers or something.
Or the rest of the Warp Drive 5 holds him down and shaves it off. I am on board for this.
I like that too. Is he scream? Does the Boimler scream the whole time?
Yes!
You've learned nothing, Boimler. Here, Rutherford, use your eye lasers on him.
Oh my god, is that why we got the eye lasers?
I think so. Let's talk about the intro with the Warp Drive 5 there. I like how Mariner says we're on a break because they're both on a break they're off shift, but then they also are not in the episode by and large.
Yes.
At least
this episode has so many meta gags in it.
Yeah. They're not afraid to get into those either. They're not shy about these things now.
Yeah, and they don't do it as like a hit you over the head with it. It's if you're not looking for it, you could easily miss it.
Totally. I feel sad about Boimler still being sad about Duplo Boimler. He thinks that guy's dead.
Yeah, can we talk about how totally pirate it is? That Tendi is just...
Tendi just does not care.
Super glib about dead Duplo Boimler. Just hilarious.
She's usually so in tune wanting to people please, but she just completely misses the mark for Boimler there for some reason.
Yes.
But maybe you're right. It's the pirateness being held over a bit.
Could be.
And then what's up with Shax being upset at his mashed potatoes?
Okay, so I've got two directions to go on this. Obviously, the potatoes are in the shape of the Black Mountain, and that's what he's
Right.
screaming at. But I'm wondering
Yeah.
if this is like a callback, or not a callback, but a reference to Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, where he makes Devil's Peak or Devil's Rock out of the potatoes. And he's like, this
I didn't think of
means
that.
something, and that's what Shax is
interesting.
doing here. I wonder if that's
Oh
the
yeah,
reference.
I could totally see that. That's only millennials will get that, I guess, and Gen Xers.
I mean, I think Gen Xers will get it, and I think Boomers will probably get it too. That was pretty popular when it came out.
None of the younger kids will understand that. They'll just think it's the Black Mountain.
You know what? I'll tell you though,
Those dark
if they're
kids.
listening and they don't get the reference, go watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
Excellent movie.
It's worth their time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. I think I need to rewatch it.
Yeah.
So
Let's
it's
do
a
it.
good time. But of course, we get away from the Warp Drive 5. That's just the intro. And from there, most of the episode is spent with William Boimler, who is a captain, by the way. He pulled a, what's the bullion dude's name that got promoted to captain?
Oh man, thanks for bringing that up. I totally forgot his name.
I know. I can't remember his name. I remembered it 5 minutes ago, but not when we're talking about it.
Of course.
But he got promoted to captain. And, Duple Boimler, I want to call him that instead of William Boimler. It's more catchy. But he's been promoted to captain.
Here's the problem though. Did he get promoted to captain, or is he just the last surviving original crew member of his ship? Because where
So
is
many
the
questions.
rest of the Section 31 operatives on his ship? Is it just him? Like, what? Did they send him out with a single ship and are like, good luck? Like, just him and just the ship? Like, that is a
Yeah.
recipe for disaster. No wonder Section 31 is so ineffective.
I want to believe that the ship was already crewed by Harry Kim's, like, when he was, like, revived and, like, after they faked his death, and they're just like, we need captain. Only ensigns here need captain. And they just shove Pips on his collar.
But then that raises the question, is this our timeline ship, or had it been traveling from other quantum realities already?
Unclear.
I don't think so. I think Boimler was recruited in this universe to close fissures. But you know what? Oh god, this whole thing, the whole fissure thing just makes no sense. I really need to not think about this. It is an animated comedy show.
It's okay to have standards.
Because they keep running into fissures in this universe, but supposedly every time they open a fissure to another universe,
it only opens one.
It opens two, right? Between those two universes. Right. So why do fissures keep getting opened to our universe? Are there multiple Beagles passing through?
Ooh.
I have so many questions.
Multiverse explorers, yeah. I do want to cover the Beagle's exploratory mission, but I want to talk about Boimler first, because he's got a couple visual differences from the Prime Boimler. He's also working on a beard, although perhaps not for as long as Prime Boimler has. And he's figured out a method to flatten his little hair poof.
Well,
He's got flat hair.
Figured out a method. I feel like Boimler knows how to do that too, because he did it in the Red Shirts episode. It's just his style. That's who he is.
Okay.
But William Boimler is not that way.
Yeah. I like he's just so tired of the whole multiverse thing.
I feel like that
is this a little jab at the whole Marvel,
It's not just Marvel though. I think this is like a meta gag. Just about genre media right now. Everybody is doing multiverses. And it's getting old. Marvel did a multiverse. DC did a multiverse. There's multiverse movies. I mean, God, what is that movie? Huge last year. One
of the Spider-Man ones?
No, this was not. No, this was not one of the mainline movies. This is killing me. It's like now, here, there, whatever.
Everywhere, all at once, or something like that.
Yes,
what was the name of that movie?
Everything, everywhere, all at once. Is that the name of it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. That movie it was huge, and it's a multiverse movie. And while I really enjoyed it, it's like what everybody is doing, and it's just getting old.
Yeah, I think even Mike McMahon has been quoted as him personally being tired of it. So I can understand why it has made its way here. But do you think? So of course we're going to get into the plot of Lily Sloane showing up and all that, but she argues against Duple Boimler getting tired of it because he thinks it's not real exploration, this multiverse traversal. But she kind of argues, the point of, it actually is. So do you feel like that successfully got him out of that? And do you buy that explanation?
Yes, because they're experiencing the multiverse in two different ways. Boimler is stuck with ham-fisted, bite-sized, cliche multiverses, whereas Sloane is exploring in depth what-if scenarios. And I think that's the big difference of why Boimler's burned out and Sloane isn't.
Right.
The problem isn't the multiverse. The problem is how it's used.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. It's just different kinds of exploration in my mind, for sure. What do you think about Duple Boimler when when they find the alternate Mariner and get her on board, and he gives her the the googly eyes in the mess hall?
You've mentioned this, and I think she was just happy to see somebody familiar after her near-death experience.
Well, she was happy. I think Boimler was giving her the little.
I think he was happy to see Mariner again. It's a friend. Stavros, you are reading way too much into this, buddy.
Yeah, I think that the prime duo is absolutely platonic. There's nothing romantic there.
No, there's nothing romantic here either, dude.
You don't think so?
Put your ship card away. Everybody doesn't need to be shipped. You got.
I'm gonna take this to fan.
I know you've got a rewards program with UPS, but not everybody needs to be shipped, bro.
How long were you holding on to that joke? Damn.
Hey, off the top of my head, even I impress myself sometimes.
I love it. Let's talk about his ship, the Anaximander. I love this. It's got a little Greek reference going on there, a philosopher who was really into the origin of the cosmos and the whole thing of universal balance. I actually tried really hard to read the Wikipedia page about this guy, and I was like, I am barely following what's going on here. Something universe, something balance. That's as far as I got, basically. Yeah,
he was a big proponent of science, too. So, Greek philosophers, probably if we were back there in Greece, we'd be like, oh, this guy's a shitbag. Because they were all shitbags, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
We appreciate their contributions, but it's a good thing that they're dead.
That's rough. The ship looks great, though. Have you noticed, like, when it shows up when Boimler got resurrected, I felt like it was just a static 2D piece of art.
About that, though, not only was it a static piece of art, it had weird angles on it that just did not look good.
Yeah,
I am kind of disappointed that this isn't an updated Defiant, a Section 31 Defiant. It seems to be just baseline with new colors, but still looks really good.
Yeah, it looked great. All of the action shots with the Defiant class, the Anaximander looked great.
Yes.
No pulse cannons on it, though. Did you notice that? It has a little, nose phaser on it, and that's it?
Well, it has the nose phaser. It never uses its pulse cannons, though. It never really tried to destroy anything, did it? It was always trying to disable the Beagle.
Curzon tried his best to destroy some things, but...
Curzon, man. I don't know about that guy. I am up in the air on his portrayal. He's supposed to be exuberant. All right, let's continue on with what we're talking about now before I complain about Curzon.
Yeah, we'll get there for sure. But how about the interiors? I mean, the interiors of the Anaximander, the Defiant stuff, straight out of DS9, looks awesome.
Yeah.
And even the Beagle, which we can talk about a little bit later too, the interiors of that ship look straight out of Enterprise. And they look really good.
Fantastic. Visually, this whole episode is just stunning from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Cannot praise it enough.
Yeah. Completely. Let's see. Anything else about Duple Boimler?
Because I was going to talk about Dupla Mariner, or Alt Mariner.
Yeah, let's talk about, because he certainly gets paired up with her a bit. And that Mariner is switching departments. She's an engineer that hates adventure. And that's certainly a change. Yeah, well, I mean, she's an alternate universe version. But I love the fact that she references that her Boimler is always wearing a leather jacket. What is that about?
Is that a reference to Cupid's errant arrow? Where he's trying to look cool in front of his victim?
Yeah, was that a leather jacket?
It was, but here's the thing. It was a half leather jacket. It was half leather, half Letterman's. It's like utterly ridiculous.
He sleeps in it too, as I recall. That's just
that's what she says
for smelliness.
Yeah,
that's not good. But let's get into the highlight of this episode, and that is, dear God, the onslaught of the guest star roles.
Oh my God.
There's so many of these. We're going to go through these one by one. Let's start with T'Pol. we get Jolene Blaylock coming back to do the role. And as I recall, she really was kind of done with the whole Star Trek in general after
wasn't
Enterprise.
She even kind of like done with acting to a certain extent?
Yeah.
I may be wrong about that.
Yeah, I think she got married and had a few kids, and she's kind of been off the map since then. But I guess she's back for this. Yeah. They somehow got her back on here.
I will say, like, I did not even realize that was her on the first listen until they got to the credits. On second listen, it's clearly Jolene, which I guess that's what her stage name is now, or her professional name.
Specifically asked to be credited as Jolene only. Apparently, for whatever reason.
Because apparently she's here to steal our man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I totally agree on the whole vocal things. For a lot of these, actually, I mean, you got to consider, like, they were on TV in the 90s. A lot of these guys, so it's been like 20 plus years. Plus, the cadence of speaking for an animated show is so different. Plus the age, plus time, it's going to be a little bit different.
I think, though, for T'Pol, there's an added layer to it. And that is, I remember back to Enterprise, and I don't remember if you remember when we were doing our Enterprise rewatch.
Yeah.
T'Pol, especially in the beginning, was always just super condescending. And her words just always, like, dripped with condescension. And I'm just like, and that's missing here. It's just, and it's a little, I don't even know how to describe it. Because it's not slower. Her speech isn't slower in this, but it is definitely more.
There's more to it than condescension.
No, it's more even, right? It doesn't have the flair that the supposedly emotionless T'Pol had. Here, I feel she comes across as more emotionless than in Enterprise.
Interesting, because based on this version of T'Pol, she's supposed to be this human emotion expert, because in her universe, Trip was not horribly killed for no reason.
For no apparent reason.
She was married to him for a long time, yeah. So she's supposed to be this expert on it. So maybe that will explain something. I don't know.
Yes, maybe.
But she's best friends with the Curzon Dax, who has not handed off the Dax symbiont to anyone and was obviously still the ambassador to the Klingon Empire. Who was actually voiced by Fred Tatasciore, who does Shax. So if you're wondering why he's still a maniac like Shax, that might be why.
Oh, that's probably it. But yeah, that's it. Like, a lot of it, like, totally taking on the Khwopians or whatever, Khwopians, or why can't I pronounce it now that we're talking?
Khwopians?
Yeah, Khwopians.
Yeah.
Taking on the Khwopians by himself, that is totally like Dax that we've been told about. But other times, he's just a ridiculous human being, or I guess not ridiculous human being, ridiculous Trill. Right? Like,
he's all hopped up on sodium, I think.
Yeah, apparently. Which, does sodium affect Trill in the same way it does humans? I bet it does. I bet that's a deep cut that I'm just missing.
It's possible. They make a big point of everyone eating ramen in this episode, so who knows?
Yeah, that was super weird that they were all eating the same thing. I'm going to assume ramen are just like standard rations.
Like rations, yeah. They didn't show them replicating it, so... But yeah, Curzon. Anything else on Curzon or T'Pol? They're a fun little duo.
No, not really. There's another fun duo, though. Are we going to talk about them next? I want to talk about them next.
Of course.
Tell me we're going to talk about them next.
We are. It is the Garak and Bashir hologram. Is that the one you're thinking of? I hope so.
Yes, 100%.
I like how Garak is a medical officer for some reason who actually outranks the Bashir hologram. But why?
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Garak can boss him around. That's why he gets away with, just giving Bashir shit all the time. It's because he outranks him. Bashir can't do shit about it.
Oh my god. But yeah, I love that they're a couple. This kind of...
Yes, amazing.
So, Andrew Robinson, I remember reading interviews with him because there was always that weird, what's going on between Bashir and Garak. And Andrew Robinson is like, oh yeah, from the get-go, I played it that Garak was into Bashir, right? And like, you totally see it on rewatch.
Completely,
it's less Garak is just like a creepy spy guy, and more in he's a dude who wants to get his jollies. And I feel like this episode is a great callback to that.
Yeah. I feel like so many fanfics have now become legitimized by them being a thing together. And I didn't realize this at first watch, but the Bashir hologram, is that a callback to Bashir being like a template for?
Yes, he was originally going to be the EMH Mark II. I will say, it would have been hilarious if he had the voice of Andy Dick. That would have been amazing. But
you really want Andy Dick in on the show at this point?
I mean, given that he is, tainted goods at this point, probably not. But again, I didn't even realize that was Alexander Siddig.
Yeah,
doing the voice.
That's one of those voices. Yeah, it's hard to tell.
I've seen him in other things, and I think it is 100%. It's just the cadence, the delivery.
Yeah, it's different for
Lower
Dorks for animated show.
His voice evolved throughout DS9, especially during the Dominion War arc. So, I don't know.
But still, the characters were done justice, I think. It was Chef's Kiss. Amazing how they interacted.
Fantastic.
I wanted to see more of that. I want to see them go happily to their new dimension. Or old dimension.
I love that Garak is all like, because fighting is so much fun. It's just such a fantastic Garak moment.
I know. Completely. It's exactly their dynamic.
Very believable.
Bashir's so pissed.
Yeah.
Bashir's pissed, but like kind of turned on too, you could tell.
There's actually another interesting Garak point that I want to bring up though, and I don't know why I stuck on this. There is a scene later in the episode where Garak is hiding behind a panel in the sickbay, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Garak was super claustrophobic. Is this alternate Garak? Is he not claustrophobic?
Ooh. I guess not. He's in Starfleet and not claustrophobic. That's a good point. Yeah, this guy's a little different.
Maybe. I don't know. It just bothered me.
It's a good point. Another little riff, just like Neelix with the crew cat. It's Garak without claustrophobia. How about Harry Kims? Not just one Harry Kim, not just two.
Oh my God.
Many, many Harry Kims. Garrett Wang comes back to reply his role.
So here's my question. Do you think he was just in a booth by himself recording the Harry Kim lines where it's only Harry Kim interacting? And he's just doing each line in sequence? Because that would be hilarious.
Yeah, Harry, another Harry, hooray! Yeah, I absolutely think he did that. I would love to see the video of that recording. I really hope that it exists somewhere.
And then, of course, I had the callback to the oldest Voyager gag of why Harry Kim never got a promotion, despite everybody else, even non-Starfleet people, got promotions in Voyager.
Everyone forgets about Ops. They always forget what Ops does. Why is it the one that got promoted is the unhinged one, though?
Well, I mean, that's why you don't promote a Kim, because they become unhinged. Power mad.
He's just mad with power.
Yes.
Yeah. At first, he kind of had a point, he's just upset that nobody else got promoted, but then he just completely flies off the handle. What is Starfleet doing in that universe? Are they just looking for unhinged personality characteristics and promoting those guys? It's got to be a universe problem, and not
maybe he got promoted by Janeway. That seems like it's in her wheelhouse.
Speaking of Janeway, I like how they start discussing what'd you guys do with your Tuvix as the camera.
And then we don't get to see the end of the conversation. Tuvix gags really want to know. Never get old.
They keep going back to that well. It'll never get old. I need to see a pie chart of what percent of Janeways murdered their Tuvix versus letting him live.
Yeah, I definitely would love it if there's a deleted scene of that entire conversation. Everybody's telling different stories and they finally get to the last guy. He's like, oh, we just used the replicator to duplicate him. And then it's that would have been hilarious if that's the ending and everybody else just gets the confused Pikachu face.
Oh yeah, shit, we could have done that. Amazing. But then, how about the most surprising cameo or guest star? Lily Sloane, the Zephram Cochrane's helper from First Contact.
I mean, that's really condescending, dude. Zephram Cochrane's helper? Didn't she do a huge chunk of the actual engineering work, right? Wasn't Zephram a pilot and a theory guy? And Sloane was all I got all the equipment together and actually assembled the vehicle based on his drunken ramblings. And it's she's the assistant.
That's a good point,
dude. That's some next level misogyny you got going on.
Some character assassination. Oh, misogyny too. Yeah, I guess so. But who expected this cameo? I mean, surprised everyone. She's also supposed to be the villain that's causing all of these dimensional rifts.
But she's not. I love that they do that. And Duplo Boimler, who is so upset about this whole situation, has to be talked off of viewing these people as
being a villain.
Yeah, villains.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think anybody saw this coming, but they've done that before. I mean,
No.
I just think back to, Paris in previous season. Did any of us see, not Paris, Locarno? They're the same guy!
They look exactly the same. Yeah. No, you're right. And the funny thing is, like, that is like the Locarno is like almost a variation on multiverse because it just looks like Tom Paris. Here it's like the entire premise is rejected by the writers and they get to something completely out of left field and it's amazing.
Yep. So, what are we going to talk about next? Are we going to talk about our ship?
Yeah, let's talk about it. The Beagle.
Oh boy. So yeah, the HMS Beagle, obviously Darwin's ship. It's an interesting name choice given that the Beagle in Star Trek now explores different universes and sees how humanity evolved in different ways. I think that's a fantastic, reference and naming convention. I like it when names mean things, is what I'm saying here.
Yeah, I get that. Except for Greek philosophers that you hate.
Well, I mean, I don't hate him. I'm just glad he's dead.
That's different, right? Sure.
Yeah, there's a difference. There's lots of people who I am just fine with, but I still wish they were dead.
That makes complete sense. You do not seem unhinged at all.
Okay. Back to the Beagle. So what'd you think of the design of the Beagle?
I loved it. It was right out of the that picture in TMP.
The XCV 330.
What's it called? Yeah.
It's totally a play on that. They didn't recreate it exactly. It looks much more primitive. It looks like something we might build now if we were, day after tomorrow building some sort of interdimensional stellar ship. The weird thing is, though, like, I saw mild references to, at least in the nose section, reminded me a lot of the ship from Event Horizon. Oh, yes.
Which there are some similarities,
itself traveled interdimensionally. So I'm just wondering if next episode they're going to travel to hell, because that would be... No.
Oh, or the Black Mountain, perhaps.
I am betting, though, that is a design ethos that comes from somewhere else. Like, it's probably a reference to some, old school conjectural art of future space vehicles, and I'm just not putting it together. Because everything else in the design is definitely that. The overall shape, straight out of that XCV painting. But there's lots of little cool details in it that I just thought were fantastic.
Yeah, I love that ship a lot. I kind of got the impression that the rings were like the Vulcan influence, possibly, because they did have Vulcans in that crew.
And that was kind of
explained that.
The explanation, I think, for the XCV was it was one of the first spaceships they built with the help of the Vulcans. So it's much more in line with how Vulcans built their ships.
Right. But I want to go back to we talked a little bit about already, like the nonsenseness about how the Beagle operates, because it has no warp drive.
Yes.
And it creates rifts, but then other rifts appear randomly. But then, there must be like other rifts in non-Federation space, like, and then once they go through a rift, they can't go anywhere because they don't have warp drive, so they must create the exit point of the rift close to whatever it is they want to observe. I don't know. There's some holes in how the Beagle operates here.
It'd be
I'm
one
not sure
thing
it really
if they were
sense.
well, you know what though? Almost every universe they go to, it seems like there's warp-capable civilizations, or they wind up near a planet.
Right.
So
they just kind of like keep going through rifts until they finally
that's
come
probably
out near something to observe.
They're probably just chain creating rifts all throughout the quantum verse.
Maybe that's why there were so many rifts in the Prime universe. Like, they went through and they're like, shit, we didn't run close to anything. Go back, and they come back, and then they
go back, or do they just keep wandering around aimlessly? Like, they have no navigational skills, so they're just kind of wandering.
Where do we go? I don't know.
Weird loops.
I don't know. Anyway, there's some things that need an explanation there, is all I'm trying to say there.
Definitely some questions about how this whole thing works. Fortunately, we have a whole episode to answer all of these questions.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they will all be answered.
All the questions will be answered.
But let's talk more about the Khwopians. We talked a little bit about them already. They're the axolotl aliens.
Favorite race. I love these guys.
Names now, the Khwopians.
They've had names since their first appearance.
Yeah.
But it's only been, like, they reference their names in articles and stuff. This is the first time I think we've seen it on screen.
Right. Do you like the feralness of them and their like electrical pikes?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're alternates, Khwopians, so why can't they be feral, you know?
That's true. They are so cute, though. I want one.
Not when they're feral. Ship. That's
well, no. The nice ones. I want like a Khwopian, like hanging out with the whales in, you know, Station Ops, hanging out doing, you know, whatever Khwopian it is they do in stuff. There. Yeah, doing Khwopian stuff. A Starfleet Khwopian.
Interesting thing, though, that I noticed, like the feral Khwopians, their eyes are solid black. Is that like a nictating membrane or something?
It makes them look more evil.
I think that's the intent. But, I mean, I need an explanation for everything that happens in my animated comedy show.
Hey, we've been through this. It's acceptable to want answers, okay? You can't discount it just because it's an animated show. I don't know. It's unexplained. I'm going to say it's the membrane that makes them evil, and that's that.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm disappointed. I guess this is the end of the Khwopians. I don't think we'll ever see them in live action.
I want to see one in live action really badly now.
Me too, but like, you know what though? I mean, they do lots of background aliens that are very alien now. So we might get lucky.
Yeah, I hope so. Strange New Worlds. Make it happen.
Yeah, Strange New Worlds. Do a first contact with Khwopians.
Ooh.
Yeah, make it happen.
Yeah, I like it.
Maybe an episode where they have to defend the Khwopians from the Gorn. I'd like to see that episode.
I like that. And then they kind of have to go feral. They have to like coax the black membrane out of their eyes to make them feral and kill the Gorn or whatever.
Yes, genius.
We should write a pilot.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's going to be a spin-off show.
I don't think we need a spin-off show that's all Khwopians versus Gorn. I feel like this can be done in an episode of another show.
Perhaps. How do you think about the solution where they're channeling all the destructive energies toward, the one reality where Boimler is from? And my absolute favorite gag is when Boimler gets that and he has his like insane panic attack where he says, "Holy F, we're all gonna die," and runs off screen. And then the credits come up and
the reaction of the rest of the Warp Drive 5. Like they're just like, yeah, that's Boimler. Boimler being Boimler.
That's him, all right. Yep.
Oh yeah.
That was a great guy. I freaking loved that.
Yep.
That's up there in the top ones of the season, I think, for me.
Yeah. So I do want to say one thing though, and I know they had to make us. It actually makes sense because they probably didn't have the archives from the Beagle. I was going to say, like, couldn't they find a universe that's like just after the Big Bang or, whatever the current scientific thing is that's not the Big Bang but has the same result, or something near the heat death of the universe or something like that? Just kill off a universe with no life in it, Yeah. Why choose? But you know what? They probably didn't have options.
Yeah, I think Boimler says scan me and use my universe. So
they probably just didn't have the Beagle's Encyclopedia of Universes they had visited.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, great setup for the series finale.
Yeah, it's funny because this, is this episode good? I mean, there's so many cameos and they're all awesome, but does that make the episode good? And it's easy to get distracted by the cameos. But let me first ask that: was this episode good, or was it the cameos that were awesome, or both?
Okay, so this episode is good, and the cameos were a mixed bag. Like I said, I didn't like Curzon. I couldn't recognize T'Pol's voice. The Kims were fantastic. They were the highlight.
Yeah, clearly good.
Garak and Bashir was like a great callback, very enjoyable. The characters were fun.
Yeah.
But the question to ask is, if you replaced all of those characters with new characters, would they have worked? And I go back to Starbase 80. Starbase 80 had a bunch of ridiculous new characters, and it worked because the story was good. And I think this story was good. I think it was very Star Trek, and I think it holds up because of that. I think the cameos were almost a distraction at times.
Yeah, because it's funny. You're going to look back at this episode and say, oh, it was the one with all the cameos. Yep. And like the multiverse thing is like sort of a mental backseat to that. But even though the plot's good, right? It's fun. Yeah, it's still a fun episode.
Holds up great for me. We'll see on a rewatch, but I think I'm going to give it a seal of approval here.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think it's still a good episode. I was going to say despite, but I think the cameos kind of put the last little icing on the cake there to make it, to solidify it as good. But, I mean, with that said, I'm happy that all of the cameo budget is kind of blown before the season finale, because I really want the last episode to focus on the Warp Drive 5, because we've got the senior officer episode, we've got the cameos.
I don't know.
The show is known for that. I want it to be like the Warp Drive 5 focus on the end. Get them all, jam in as much character stuff as possible right at the end there.
Although I could do with a Jellicoe cameo.
Yes. You'd want him relegated to
the series
Prodigy?
finale. Yeah, I want him to be the new overarching. I want him to show up in the next series they're doing in the far future. Have hologram Jellicoe be there. Strange
Hologram
New
Jellicoe.
Worlds. Have Frank Jellicoe. His grand. No, not grand. His great. No, two greats. Great grand. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know how fast Jellicoes breed. I'm not a biologist. Have him show up on Strange New World. I want Jellicoe in every series.
You want the Jellicoe multiverse spinoff. Like a what if. Like if you watch that show, what if.
Yeah, like a
Marvel
what if in
MCU,
every
but it's all
episode is
Jellicoe.
about Jellicoe in different
Jellicoe.
universes. Like, this is Jellicoe if he had commanded the Voyager. And this is Jellicoe if he had been in charge of Deep Space Nine. And this is Jellicoe if he had, been commander-in-chief during the Cardassian War. That sort of thing.
Okay. Let's make it happen. Start a Kickstarter right now, and we'll see what kind
We'll call it
I'm sure we'll get
Star
like at least
Trek
$3.
Jellicoe.
Isn't there like a webcomic that is that right now? You guys could combine forces.
I have no idea. That sounds awful, though. I have no idea how we got on a 10-minute Jellicoe tangent. But let's bring it back around to Lower Dorks.
I think, we're talking about the setup for the end of the show. I just really want it to be the focus on the Warp Drive 5 character development.
Yes.
I hope it's all about that.
I don't think they need much more character development, though. I feel like
No?
they just need to resolve Boimler's season arc. I think
Okay.
Mariner's in a good place already. Tendy's in a good place. I don't think anybody has issues. It's really just they got to resolve
Just
where
Boimler.
Boimler is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Rutherford have anything outstanding?
I don't think so. I think
He doesn't have a lot of character stuff going on this season.
No, not at all. I think he's in a good place. Maybe he needs to get his implant fixed. We'll see if that's comes up in the coming episode. Who knows? So here's my question to you, though. Does the universe get destroyed in the next episode?
What kind of question is that? Of course not.
I'm going to go with yes. I think they're going to destroy the universe, and at least a part of the episode is going to be them having to undo that.
Oh, okay. Undoing it. Okay. I could see that. There's that way there are some concrete stakes. I could be into it as long as they undo it by the end.
Yes. Yeah, they're going to undo it. And then the series will end with Captain Boimler flying off, and you'll have the voiceover of his first officer, Commander Boimler.
Oh. Multiple Boimlers.
I'm thinking a whole ship
now we're
of
in
Boimlers.
the Boimler extended universe. Yeah, just like the Kims.
And we have two Mariners now, so we'll have Engineer Mariner and whatever mainline Mariner is.
Okay. Just a ship full of duplicates of those two guys.
Yes, it's all just the Warp Core 5 and their duplicates. All in some kind of Star Trek.
Get a little Zephram Cochrane quote in there right at the end.
Yeah. Ooh, and it could turn out it's not the mainline Zephram Cochrane. It's Mirror Zephram Cochrane. And when they pan back from his face, he's got the shotgun. And then mainline Zephram Cochrane comes into screen and punches him and takes the shotgun and says, "No, you don't shoot Vulcans."
William Boimler would hate you. He's not a fan of the minor riffs on characters, all right?
Yeah.
He would hate this.
I don't know. I feel like I've gone completely off into La La Land at this point.
It's the grape soda, I think.
It is. This was a little too good. I may have drank a little too much.
I'm excited for the last episode, though. I have sky high hopes. I really hope it's good.
Well, I hope they aren't crushed by...
Yeah. We'll see.
But anyways, I think that's all we've got for today.
I think so.
So, we'll be back next week for the series finale. In the meantime, you can check us out on Blue Sky, lowerdorks.bsk. BSK?
BSK?
Ah, jeez. BSK. Lowerdorks.bsk y.social. Or, if you can't wait that long, join a lone bespectacled man on his vision quest.
Ooh, am I having like an Akuchi Moya moment, or is it...
No, you're having a come to Jellicoe moment.